Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Martha MacCallum, and this is the story. The border deal is about to implode, essentially, on Capitol Hill. It went nowhere. More than 1 million migrants, in the meantime, have come across our border since just the 1st of October. Almost 8 million since President Biden's inaugural. Those are all record-breaking numbers. The records have been broken and broken and broken again. So clearly there's a crisis. Everyone acknowledges this, but Congress and the president are simply not acting to do anything to fix it or to reverse this situation at this point. But the huge numbers that we talk about all the time, they are numbers and they're important. They impact American cities. They impact the national security of our country and the bottom line of all of that. No one knows any of this better than Border Patrol Chief Jason Owens. And while this number may sound a whole lot smaller, it's one that he wants you to know something about. He says it's a huge concern. He just posted these photos, and he says that since October 1, Border Patrol has caught more than 160 coming in with gang affiliations. Pesos, MS-13, all of them involved likely with murder, extortion, narcotics, weapons, human trafficking, prostitution. So on all of this and on the bill that has just been shot down and what he thinks about that, Chief Owens joins me exclusively now. Chief, very good to have you with us today. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Martha. You have a lot of friends here in the Border Patrol that admire what you do.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I'm very glad to hear that. And I thank you for speaking with our reporters from time to time and keeping all of us up to speed on what's going on down there. So we've heard a lot of politics over this issue of this border deal. Putting all of that aside, if this had passed today, because I'm sure you have looked at this closely, would it have made the border safer than the status quo that we live with right now?
Well, first of all, Martha, I want to thank Senators Langford, Sinema, and Murphy for the bipartisan effort. We're charged with a very dangerous mission, and that mission is supposed to be to keep this country and its people safe from those who want to come in and do it harm. And we can't do that job without the support and the backing of our partners in Congress. And as long as there's no action coming out of Congress, we're languishing in the same situation. So I don't think there's anybody that says that a bill has to have everything that we need in order for us to accept it. That's why we have compromise. There are definitely aspects of that bill that I liked for the agency, and there's aspects of it that, of course, I didn't. That's always been the case.
You know, your predecessor testified this before Congress, and it was a pretty stunning moment. Watch this.
Chief Ortiz, does DHS have operational control of our entire border?
No, sir.
No, sir. You heard his answer. Would this bill have gotten you any closer to having operational control of the southern border if Congress had passed it in this process that started today?
Well, first off, I want to tell you, in the better part of 28 years, I have never seen a situation where I, as a law enforcement professional, would have said the border is secure. It's we need more people. We need more agents on the line. They need more force multipliers in the way of technology, equipment, infrastructure. That doesn't just help them do their job better. It helps keep them safe. There are aspects of this bill that would have added additional hundreds of Border Patrol agents to our rank and file, that would have given us more technology, it would have given us more equipment and infrastructure. Of course, I'm going to be supportive of that.
But do you think it would have helped you to regain operational control? Because what we're seeing now is a crisis mode that everyone is witnessing. So, you know, if you could talk to Congress right now about this, what would you tell them that you need? And would you tell them that you're disappointed today in this outcome?
I am disappointed, and I would tell them, don't stop. Keep working together and come to a consensus that helps us keep this country safe. It's important to remember that the mission of the Border Patrol is not to process asylum seekers. We are dealing with this migrant influx that really should be applying for entry into the country through an established port of entry. And when they don't do that, what it does is, number one, it puts them in danger, because it puts them in the hands of smugglers and cartels who extort from them. They exploit them on a very dangerous dangerous journey. The other thing that it does is it pulls us off of task. While we're busy doing this, the cartels are taking full advantage of it somewhere else along the border to bring in who knows what and who knows who. These are the types of things like fentanyl, like other hard narcotics, hardened criminals that do represent a danger to our community. So as long as we're stuck having to deal with a migrant influx, we cannot be out on patrol. We're already behind the 8 ball when it comes to the adversary having an advantage along our borders because the area is simply so vast. That's why I say we need more technology, we need more infrastructure, we need more equipment. I worry at the end of the day not just about being able to keep the American people safe, but my brothers and sisters that are out there every day, they need those things. They depend on those things to make sure they get home safe at the end of every shift.
What's your estimate? Because that sounds like you need more people, you need more resources in order to keep the country safe, which is what you just said. How many do you estimate are in the got-away category because you don't have what you need at the border and didn't get any more support for it today in this fiscal year? Do you have a number on that?
It would just be a guess because there's so much of the area that we don't have situational awareness. There's just so much of the border that we don't have control and we're not at right now. So I know what we see, what we're able to actually capture, and it's in the hundreds of thousands. And those are the numbers that really, for us, keep us up at night because if you know that all you need to do is turn yourself in to the Border Patrol and go through the process, what possible reason would you have for wanting to evade capture and put yourself in danger to cross through the desert or be in a stash house or lock yourself in the back of a tractor trailer? Could it be that those are the folks that probably have criminal intent, that have bad intent, that represent a possible threat to the people of this country? That's the kind of thing that keeps us up at night, and that's why I say we cannot confuse the issue. The issue is the Border Patrol agents, and the U.S. Border Patrol exists and is needed to keep the American people safe from things that would do it harm. Nobody is saying that that immigration shouldn't take place, but it needs to take place in the right way for the reasons that I talked about. It puts them in danger, and it takes us off of task.
We have breaking news that I have to get to, but would this, just if you can give me a brief answer, if you possibly can, would this have dramatically cut down on the number of single adult males that we see crossing the border in enormous numbers, and most of whom get released into the country? Would this have had a good impact in turning that situation around?
If it allowed us to hold those people in custody until they were actually removed and it delivered a consequence, then yes, it absolutely would have.
Chief, thank you very much. There's a lot to talk to you about. I really appreciate you making time for it today. I hope you'll come back and join us again soon. It's a very important issue for Americans and our national security, as I know you know better than any one of us. So thank you very much, sir, for all you do. And please send that message to everybody you're working with as well. We're grateful to them.
I will.
All right, so we were just discussing this, and it is now official. The Senate has blocked the border bill from being debated, and it is likely done for. That is a big disappointment, as you just heard, to the chief of our Border Patrol, who desperately is looking for more resources to keep the American people safe. Republican Louisiana Senator John Kennedy was against the bill. He sits on the Appropriations, Judiciary, and Budget Committees, and he joins us now. So, Senator, I don't know if you got a chance to hear from Chief Owens, who said that he was disappointed that this would have helped us to make the country safer, would have cut down on the number of single adult males entering the country that we've lost track of, not to mention these gang members as well. So tell us what your take is this afternoon as this thing has imploded.
Well, for several days, Martha, the border bill has been dead. It's been as dead as Woodrow Wilson. And now it's official. We just finished voting. There will be some who will want to continue to talk about this bill. It's their right, but I think they'll just be grooming a corpse. How we got here is no mystery. Some of my Democratic colleagues say Republicans welched on a deal. There was no deal to welch on. As part of this supplemental bill, we asked to have some border provisions explored that might slow President Biden's open border down. Leader McConnell appointed James Lankford to do that. He did the best he could negotiating with people who support an open border. He brought the product back to us in the Republican conference in the Senate. And we said, James, we appreciate your hard work, but this is not sufficient. And that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, you know, the question is whether or not it would have made people incrementally safer, because when you have a crisis that we cover here every day, and we're talking about people on the terror watch list who are crossing, you know, likely today, yesterday, while this whole thing is being discussed, people may be entering this country who are planning to do us harm. That's a pretty real assessment. I think it's a fair assessment. This is Kristen Sinema, who is obviously from Arizona, who was part of the three-senator team who put this deal together. Here's what she had to say this morning when she spoke with Bill Hemmer and Dana Perino. Watch.
What our bill does do is close the border during times of high traffic. I do want to note, every single day this year, the border would have been closed had my bill become law. Every single day this year, because the number of people coming is so high.
Obviously, she's very frustrated. She said that in her home state, people they don't care about politics. They want to make at least, and you just said, Senator, that you were looking for some provisions that would improve, right? And when you go through this, and I understand that people on both sides have very big, differences over this, but you don't think there were some provisions in there that were worth moving on?
I can't predict the future. I have to wait for it like everybody else. But I don't see how anybody could look at this bill and confidently predict it would have been an improvement.
Well, the chief of the Border Patrol just said exactly that. Don't you think that he probably knows better than anybody what would have helped his people out a little bit?
And I have great respect for him, but I disagree with him. This bill would have required President Biden. It was given him enormous discretion. And I don't think he cares. And when somebody acts like they don't care, sometimes it's not an act, Martha. This president, for example, Kirsten talked about, in your clip there, she talked about the president's emergency powers. The president had emergency powers if he chose to use them.
All right, Senator, thank you very much. Obviously, very hot topic, something that people are very concerned about when they see what's going on in their cities, when people are being arrested. Many people feel like this is something that we need to figure something out quickly, that it can't wait until the election necessarily. So I thank you for giving us your thoughts on all of it as you watch this afternoon, and we'll stay on it. We'll speak with you again soon.